Let me start by apologizing for starting the program late. We had a delay with the second flight. Apologies for that. I'll start by introducing myself. My name is Sabina Chitewe. I'm the Mashonaland District Society current chairperson, and I'll be your MC for this afternoon. ICAZ President, Mr. Martin Makaya. Senior Vice President, Mr. Tapiwa Chizana. Junior Vice President, Mr. Fungai Kuipa. ICAZ past presidents here present, Mr. Roy Chimanikire, Mrs. Amelia Chisango, Mr. Munyaradzi Dube, Mr. Mats Kunaka, Mr. Bothwell Nyajeka, Mr. Tinashe Rodzi, and Mr. Volindlela Ndlovu. ICAZ CEO, Mr. Mats Kunaka, the ICAZ Council, members here present, the Secretariat, the media, and invited guests. Welcome to the 2018 ICAZ Centenary Congress. Fellow members and guests, I would like to start by advising that in the past year, sadly we lost 5 members and 2 students who were called to the greater glory. The members' names are Lawrence Utete, Christopher Mutale, William Stanley, Urayai Mazengeza, and Peter Stevenson. May I call on all members and guests to rise so that we observe a moment of silence as we remember our dearly departed. If we can all rise, please, for those still seated. Thank you. We may take our seats. Our theme this year, celebrating our first 100 years, a stepping stone to the next 100 years. The year 2018 is truly an exciting and memorable year for our members as we celebrate a historic event, ICAZ Centennial. It is indeed a privilege for us to be here, members from different generations and countries, as none of us is likely to be here for the bicentennial celebration. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us all heartily celebrate the centennial available to us. We honor all our members who have contributed to the profession and built a strong brand over a century into this great institution that we are all proud of, ICAZ. We have witnessed a number of initiatives in the past years, and I'm sure you will agree with me that we all have an obligation to continue the good work for the benefit of future generations and ICAZ's continued preeminence among professional accounting bodies. To mark the centenary year, the Institute is working on commissioning centenary legacy projects that prioritize education. Let us all support this initiative, as this is indeed our legacy. We will hear more on this as the Congress progresses. Coming to the program, we have a strong lineup of speakers and panelists to share with us their knowledge and experiences, so let us all fully participate and interact with them to share their ideas in the next couple of days that they are here with us. I ask that we all make it to have at least 1 or 2 takeaways to contribute to your organizations as the game is changing with Zimbabwe now being open for business. In addition, exciting activities have been lined up for us to relax and enjoy. I'm sure you have all seen what has been lined up for you, exciting indeed. So let us all make the most of this Congress, network, and enjoy. At this moment, allow me to recognize and thank my fellow March Society members and the Secretariat who worked tirelessly to put this big event together. A big round of applause to them. Our sponsors, even though times are tough, you stood by us. We could not have done this without you. Thank you for your generosity. A big round of applause for our sponsors. So as we celebrate the end of the first, we welcome you to the beginning of ICAZ's second century. A warm welcome to you all to the ICAZ Centenary Congress. I thank you. At this point, I will call upon ICAZ President, Mr. Martin Makaya, to come and give us his presidential address. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Masikati. First, the salutation, can I only salute those that I see here? The Senior Vice President, Vachizana, the ICAZ Council members who are here. I can see Arthur Mbaiwa, he's our education chair. Chumai Mafunga, he's in our audit and finance committee. Valerie Muyambo, PR committee. I also see the man from the UK, Tawanda Chikore. Is in a number of committees, but mainly in the HR committee. Alana Vurere, a partner. She also sits in a number of committees, including audit and finance. Those are our council members who are here. I should also acknowledge the presence of our main speaker of the day, Mamshosho, Jay. Past presidents who are here. I saw Mkoma Vuli. Am I right? There he is. My Society team, led by the great woman, Sabina. I salute you. Esteemed ICAZ members who are here, their spouses. I always emphasize that when I speak on behalf of the ICAZ Council. The fish starts getting bad from the head, and the head of ICAZ is Council. And if you look at the hair, I don't know whether you can say the head was active or it was burning. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all to the 2018 ICAZ Centenary Congress. The theme of the Congress is celebrating our first 100 years, a stepping stone to the next set of 100 years. I believe this winter school will turn out to be the largest winter school ICAZ has ever held, and it is then fitting, as we celebrate our first 100 years, that the numbers have come in the manner that they have. It is pleasing to note that members from different directions, generations, have signed up for this Congress. I'm told a record attendance of over 400 delegates, with more registering. Have already confirmed their attendance. So we may close at about 450 delegates. And this is a record for ICAZ, beating even the Dubai number. Let's give ourselves a round of applause. Well done, well done. When I started my presidency, I indicated my priority was going to be sustainable stakeholder engagement, meaning to have the institute recognized regionally and internationally. Let me then take you through the kind of activities that this priority in particular has impacted upon the shaping of this Congress. First, I'll start with the vision and strategic plan that we did together with council members and the secretariat This happened in November 2017, and this event culminated in the ICAZ Strategy Plan 2018 to 2020, and it had the 6 objectives as follows: people, governance, funding, process, positioning, partnerships, and membership services. Those were the 7 areas of emphasis that we looked at when we convened to draft the strategy for ICAZ. On centennial celebrations, leading up to this Congress, ICAZ has held 7 milestone events. I will not go into the details of these events, but the 7 events were attended by various high-level stakeholders. I will talk about the Mayor of Harare attending one, the Speaker of Parliament also getting involved, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, the Reserve Bank Governor, the Commissioner General of Taxes attended our weekend event. The Ambassador of Germany to Zimbabwe also attended, including permanent secretaries, in particular the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Mines and Mining Development. And in particular, our senior members of ICAZ also attended these Congress events. These celebrations were also accompanied by media supplements, and these were also distributed to ICAZ members and the general public. The third issue I want to touch on is the My ICAZ mobile app. This was mooted about a year ago, and progressively, on the 5th of July, we launched the My ICAZ mobile app. This is, the mobile app is intended to improve efficiency and enhance delivery to members, students, and other constituents. I will not touch on the functionalities. We have the mobile app on our phones. If you do not have, we ask you to download this mobile app. And also, it is befitting that this mobile app is in use in this, during this Congress. Let me turn to the role of ICAZ in the accounting profession in the country. We continue to contribute on issues that shape the accounting profession. Key issues that ICAZ contributed on include accounting for treasury bills, where ICAZ conducted the research and composed the guidance on the proper accounting treatment for the different types of treasury bills issued by the government of Zimbabwe. We also developed a guidance on the functional currency in light of the recent cash and foreign currency crisis. On the international public sector accounting standards, which some abbreviate as ICAZ, that is their adoption in the country, ICAZ submitted detailed comments on the roadmap because this project is a T. We made a submission as well to government on land compensation and the proposed amendment to the Companies Act, presented at the all-stakeholder workshop hosted by the consultants developing it. On our contribution to the public sector, we were able to express our interest in participating in the growth and resuscitation of state enterprise boards, SEBs. More than 150 ICAZ members offered their services to the various SEBs. This, we reckon, will allow ICAZ members who are currently few in state-owned enterprises to be of greater influence in the economic arena of the country. Again, towards the end of 2017, we hosted a public sector convention, and that convention attracted different public sector representatives. The convention focused on how government can improve public financial management and also the new corporate governance legislation. That platform allowed direct engagement with government, wherein the ICAZ Public Sector Committee has representation from different parastatals. ICAZ also participated in the Auditor General engagement drive, where issues and discussion feedback were discussed with the Auditor General on the subcontracted out audits. On the other hand, ICAZ is also involved in a project to do with the professionalization of the accounting professionals working in the public sector. Ladies and gentlemen, I need to go back to this point. in addition to having a presentation, I think it's tomorrow, touching on what we can do as ICAZ and our members, what role we can play in the public sector. We hear a presentation that talks to this particular area. This project, if you remember, is a project which is a tripartite agreement between ICAZ, SIPFA, and IFAC. On this project, we've made significant progress in terms of us playing a role in the professionalization of public sector accounting professionals. On ICAZ female membership participation, the weekend committee has grown from strength to strength through the various activities it has embarked on. I'm very glad to say the South African weekend chapter is up and running. We attended a function recently down there. We had an amazing presentation from a cocktail of speakers who spoke very highly about ICAZ, very highly about what we can do as CAs, particularly Zimbabwean CAs. We keep encouraging female members to participate, and we are heartened that so many female members are attending this centenary celebration. We also do not forget our student participation and activities, which happens through the Chartered Accountant Students Society. Today, that society is represented by the president, Regis Shangwa. We're together this morning. It is closely supported by the institute, this student body. And their cash centennial seminar was held in Victoria Falls on the 5th to the 8th of July 2018. Honestly, I should commend Cash on the excellent job that the student body is doing. This is the source of our future members, and we continue supporting them. And indeed, it is through our collaboration with our student body that ICAZ is reaching out to the young generation to enable us, rather to entice them to study accountancy. In ending, ladies and gentlemen, a certain writer called Harvey Mackay once said, "None of us got to where we are alone. Whether the assistance we received was obvious or subtle, acknowledging someone's help is a big part of understanding the importance of saying thank you." Words cannot express how grateful I am for the support I got, first from the two vice presidents, secondly from council members, thirdly from the secretariat led by the CEO, and the general membership of ICAZ, and all the events that are leading up to the Congress that we have today. I'm grateful to have worked with such a supportive team, and I wish Tapiwa, the incoming president of ICAZ, all the best. Let us work hard, in particular for this Congress. Let's be happy. Let's enjoy the celebrations. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you, and I stop here.
Thank you, Mr. President, for that address. A lot of events definitely that happened during the year and a lot of work there. We saw ICAZ embracing digitalization, the digital transformation and getting digitalized. We now have an app that is good, moving with trends. Also a lot of work with the government, the different initiatives that we heard there, working with on land, state enterprise boards, corporate governance, and working with the Auditor General as well to see how ICAZ can also play a role in making sure that the accounting and auditing functions are professionalized. Promoting more women involvement in ICAZ activities, and I think in the economy at large, and also promoting the students' accountants. I see promoting women and youth there. I think for a moment I thought the president in his regalia, it started another campaign for another term as president. I hope that's not what you're doing, Mr. President. Thank you very much for that address, and another big round of applause for Mr. President. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, as we carry on with the program, we now have our theme speaker who will come and address us. He is the Managing Director for Old Mutual Rest of Africa, a position covering 12 countries in Africa except South Africa. He's the current Group CEO of Old Mutual Zimbabwe. He brings with him a wealth of strategic experience and maturity to contribute to the development of the Old Mutual Group, as well as the economy of Zimbabwe. Prior to this, he headed the Old Mutual Life Company as the managing director. And before joining Old Mutual, he was with the Department of Taxes, I think which we now know as ZIMRA, where he served as the Zimbabwe Deputy Commissioner of Taxes. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome one of our very own, who has also greatly contributed not only to his organization, but to our economy, Mr. Jonas Mushosho.
Thank you. Thank you very much. ICAZ President, Mr. Martin Makaya. ICAZ Senior Vice President, Mr. Tapiwa Chizana. ICAZ Vice President, Mr. Fungai Kuipa. Junior Vice President. ICAZ CEO, Mr. Metz Kunaka. ICAZ Past Presidents, Roy Manikire, Emilia Chisango, Munyaradzi Dube, Metz Kunaka, Bothwell Nyajeka, Tinashe Rodzi, and Volingela Ndlovu. ICAZ Council members, ICAZ members, ICAZ Secretariat, media, and invited guests. It's a great pleasure and honor for me to have been given this very singular opportunity and privilege to address you at this very momentous and exciting occasion for ICAZ. It's not often that an organization celebrates 100 years of existence. Therefore, we are honored that we are the generation and group of people who are present here today as we celebrate ICAZ's achievement of 100 years of existence. To be alive for more than 100 years is special. It means there are some things that you have done well. And there's a lot of embedded wisdom that has been gathered and garnered over the period. I'm reminded of the 33rd chapter of the book of Numbers in the Bible. After 40 years of wandering in the wilderness with mixed experiences, God himself told Moses, write the journeys of the children of Israel over the past 40 years, Because in writing them, in recording them, in remembering and thinking about them, you will be able to decipher and pick up the things that went very well. You will have pleasant memories of unforgettable, outstanding events in the journey through a trying and difficult terrain in the wilderness. But at the same time, as you reminisce over that journey, you will be able to also reflect upon the things that did not go very well. And therefore, you will be able to distill lessons for yourself to help you in the next chapter of the journey, lessons for yourself to pass on to posterity. So I do hope, as we think about the past 100 years, we will have an opportunity to reflect about what has gone well, and for the things that have gone well, we should pat ourselves. We don't have to wait for others to pat us on the back. I had a preacher who used to say to the congregation, take your hand, put it behind you, and pat yourself. Because often people like to criticize, and there are few that will sing praises about others. At 100, you are allowed to sing praises about yourself. And we should, about our institution. However, we should also reflect on the things where we stumbled, things that could have been done better. So to help us just reflect on the journey that we have traveled, our journey is inseparable from the journey that this country has traveled over the same period. So allow me to talk about the journey that this country has gone through so that I can weave it together with the journey that our institute has traveled over the same period. You know very well that this country was colonized and strangely ruled by a company called the British South Africa Company. Sounds very strange to many of us that a country can be ruled by a company. But that's what happened to us. And in the 1920s, the authority and rulership of the British South Africa Company came to an end as Southern Rhodesia declared self-rule. But that chapter of our history marked the beginning of serious oppression of the black people in this country, followed by the passing on of the Land Apportionment Act that drove the inhabitants of our beloved country into the semi-arid parts of the country. And as if that was not enough, the settlers continued to entrench themselves in our motherland. 1953 saw the formation of the Federation of Rhodesia and Nyasaland. And many people will have comments to say about what happened during the Federation, the inequalities that eventually led to the breakup of the Federation in 1963. Followed by a few group of settlers led by one Ian Douglas Smith, declaring unilaterally independence on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 1965. That unilateral declaration of independence was followed by the imposition of sanctions by the United Nations. But the consciousness of the black people was growing, and they started to agitate through their leadership, through organizing themselves for their liberation. It required the prosecution of an armed struggle that resulted in the Lancaster House Agreement in 1979 and what we all know as the expected euphoria of independence in 1980. A period filled with hope, aspirations, and an expectation that our dreams would be realized. The internal strife that took place in our country in the mid-80s, and the disappointing performance of the economy of this country, attempts to repair the economy through the structural adjustment program of the 1980s, which resulted in considerable sufferings. Then came a period from 1998 to 2008 where we went through some of the most difficult economic experiences that any people could be subjected to. Metaphorically, some people refer to this period as the lost decade. For an 11-year period, the GDP of this country contracted year by year by a total of 55%. Some of you that were not old enough during hyperinflation need to know and to understand the harrowing experiences that many of us went through. The many trips to go to South Africa to shop for groceries. I remember one time in a flight from Johannesburg when bread could not be found in our shops and I had bought some loaves of bread. And as I was taking my luggage out of the overhead locker, a loaf of bread was falling out of my carry-on luggage. And I was feeling a little embarrassed. And somebody by the name of Tendai Biti encouraged me and said, "You are not the only one carrying bread." I remember during that time, we were trying to build a comfortable house for ourselves. And my wife phoned me and said, "I have found the tiles, floor tiles that I need for the house." And I said, "Please buy them. Can I go and get money from the bank?" "Please do." So she went to the bank, took the money, arrived at the shop, and was told the price has gone up. She phoned me and I said, "Go and get some more money." She went back, got some more money, and came back, and the price had gone up again. The end of the story is that we never got those tiles. And so when people refer to this metaphorically as the lost decade, indeed it was a lost decade. Many of us worked very hard during the peak and prime of our years, where we could have gathered accumulated savings to support ourselves in later life. But those savings were wiped away. And we know what brought us to that period of hyperinflation. And we know the steps that brought us there. And we need to be able to look sometimes into the dark chapters that we pass through and be able to speak honestly and boldly about those times, followed by dollarization in 2009, where we all thought this is new beginnings, but it only turned out to be a false start. Because that period was soon followed by deflation, cash shortages, bond notes, and all the things that sometimes people don't want to face quite squarely in the face. But November last year, there was great, unprecedented scenes seen in our towns, in our